And don't forget to order your copy of Football Game Plan's latest book, Stiff Arming Football Myths, an excellent book that you can find on our website at footballgameplan.com/books, available in both PDF as well as paperback form.
Welcome to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook, bring you our NFL Week 1 preview between the Cleveland Browns and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now let's take a look at some keys to victory for both teams, starting with the Browns.
For the Browns in this ball game, I will go with more combo coverage versus the passing game of the Pittsburgh Steelers. There's one guy that you can man up, and that's Antonio Brown. You look at Joe Hayden being locked on him and playing zone everywhere else. I think that's how the Browns can have some success versus the Steelers' passing game. And I would also go with A-gap and B-gap pressure versus Ben Roethlisberger, who's a mobile quarterback. You don't want to fly up the field on the edges, and that way you create those running lanes. You want to keep him bottled up, tackle to tackle, and that way you can have some success. And that offensive line has to win on the inside. I'm talking guard, center, guard, running right at Ryan Shazier. I think that's how the Browns can move the football on the ground, by running inside. For Pittsburgh in this game, it's all about winning on first down defensively. They have to put the Browns in backed up situations, and if they can get to second and long, third and long, that's a win for that Steelers defense, and they'll be able to unleash that pass rush. And they have to make those open field tackles versus the shorter, quicker wide receivers of the Browns. Otherwise, they can get gashed in the passing game. And I would try to find ways to work Dre Archer in the mix very early. He's a dynamic playmaker. He's the most explosive element outside of Antonio Brown on offense. Find ways to get him the football very early and often versus the Browns.
We know the Pittsburgh Steelers and Dick LeBeau is all about defense and applying pressure, and one thing they can do versus the Cleveland Browns' Brian Hoyer is take away his number one option. I'm going to show you one zone blitz they can utilize that could put them in great position to take him away while also getting pressure on Hoyer. What we're going to have drawn up here, basic strong side formation. Jordan Cameron is right here. We want to take him away, but we also want to get front side pressure on Brian Hoyer. So what we're going to do on the backside, obviously your cornerbacks are manned up on these wide receivers. That's their responsibility. I think they feel confident going into this game that they can match up one-on-one versus those Browns wide receivers. Now, weak side, we're going to send the 5 technique, shooting the B gap here. We're going to send the outside linebacker getting that pressure, trying to force him to go to where we want him to go, and it's all about dictation. Free safety drops back into the middle of the field. It's cover 1. So what we're going to do here, we're going to get double B-gap pressure and delayed blitz by the Mike linebacker. So what we're going to do, we're going to bring this 5 technique here, crossing face, boom. We're going to loop the nose tackle around. He's going to get a good punch, loop around in the C-gap, and as the cadence starts to wind down, you're going to see the linebacker creep up, and he's also getting B-gap pressure. And you see where this what could confuse a quarterback. Okay, I have a situation where I can go right to my tight end. They're blitzing because I also see the strong safety lined up as if he's coming as well. That's the illusion. He's dropping back in the zone. You have the backer dropping back in the zone, and you also have your other backer dropping back to take away the quick slant here. So you see where dictation could force Brian Hoyer to go to the tight end where he's going to be combo covered, or try to step up in the pocket where he's going to get that B-gap pressure, that interior pressure, and you see where they have the pressure flushing him out, coming weak side. So that's one way the Steelers can apply pressure on Brian Hoyer, and I think if they can do that, take away his number one option, force him to go elsewhere, or get him to hold the football just a little bit longer, I think they can put him on the ground and get the Cleveland Browns offense off the field.
Now, here are some in-game adjustments you want to watch out for when the Browns have the football. Playing the quick game versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. I alluded to it earlier about the shorter, quicker wide receivers. I think that's how they can have some success versus the secondary of Pittsburgh. And I would also lock Joe Hayden up on Antonio Brown all day long and force those other targets to make plays consistently. And the element of surprise, Bill Walsh talked about this a lot, trying to beat your team by running that trick play first. If they can get up on the Steelers early with one of these trick plays, I think that bodes well for the Browns moving forward in this ball game. They have to get that early lead so that way that defense can get even more aggressive versus Pittsburgh. And the X factor in this game for the Browns is their entire offense. Can these guys put up points on the board versus the Pittsburgh Steelers? We know they struggled throughout the course of the preseason. I think they have to, number one, be able to run the football, two, be able to protect Brian Hoyer. And if they can put points on the board, again, they have the defense to be successful. The offense has to get up to speed. And the X factor for the Steelers will be their defensive front seven. If they can make this game Brian Hoyer versus Ben Roethlisberger, that's a big win for Pittsburgh. So those guys up front, Cameron Hayward, those inside linebackers have to be a force versus the run in order to make this game all about Brian Hoyer in that passing game. I like the Steelers in this ball game. I believe this will be a low-scoring football game because I do trust the Browns' defense. Although the Pittsburgh Steelers have a very sound defense, they're young and unproven. But when I look at Pittsburgh's offense, I like their passing game. Antonio Brown, the tight end Heath Miller, I think they will be able to have some success versus the Browns, ultimately winning the football game. But like I said before, it's going to be a low-scoring, close game, but I'm taking the Steelers.
What's up, fantasy football fans? I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook. For all of your starts, sits, fantasy football notes, news, and tidbits, tune into our podcast, Football Game Plan Starting Lineup, every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on our Football Game Plan Radio Network, which is located at blogtalkradio.com/footballgameplan.
And don't forget to check out Football Game Plan's NFL Wraparound live every Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time at blogtalkradio.com/footballgameplan, where we give you all of our late-minute and last-minute notes, news, and tidbits and thoughts on each and every game on the NFL schedule. And I also want to give a huge shout-out to Steeler fan forums and Brown fan forums for always showing Football Game Plan support.